Hello, divine, messy humans. Today is going to be a bit of an off-the-cuff riff. I'm not quite sure what direction it's going to go in, but I know the general theme. So bear with me, and I hope there's some gold in this for you. I've been thinking a lot about the essential nature of our ego, how vital it is for us to navigate this 3D world, and how much of the spiritual conversation is around death to the ego, about dissolving our ego, about becoming one with everything, being part of that collective conscience. It's like this dissolution of self that is heralded as the epitome of being spiritual. But I find a number of flaws in this problem. One is that I think it kind of upholds the same idea that religion has on the physical body, that it's dirty, that it's something to be ashamed of, that it's something that is easily led and misused and is like something that holds us back from living our best life. It's like we have to endure this physical reality to be able to then die and be brought into heaven. Now, I don't subscribe to that idea. Nothing in nature is accidental. And therefore, I believe we've been deliberately given these physical bodies for a reason. How many years do we deny our wants, our needs, and our desires because we're told that we shouldn't want them, we shouldn't desire that it's dirty or wrong or goes against the grain or isn't pure enough? We are shamed so often about being human, about having human behaviors, about having human desires, about wanting to experience the pleasures in life. But you think about that link between our sacral chakra and our throat, that expression. So much encompasses those two chakras. Our wanting of sex, our wanting of food, our wanting of new experiences. And then you go into the consumption of those things, whether it be having a beautiful meal with friends or a nourishing conversation. So much has to travel through this physical body. I don't believe that this body that we are housed in is a problem. I think that the conditioning and the stories we've been told about it are the issue. And so when we start to realize that our ego is an essential part of who and what we are and how we navigate this 3D reality, and that we need to build a relationship with it, I think while we are trying to fight it and have power over it and tell it that it's wrong and that it's shameful and that it shouldn't exist, of course we're going to get resistance, we're going to get pushback, we're going to get a reaction. Imagine if someone was trying to kill you off, to make you speak up less, to make you comply with something bigger and better than you. Guess what? That's called childhood. And that's having people impose their wants, their desires, their expectations, their trauma, their conflicts, their ideas of the world, their belief systems, their patterns on you, so that you are molded to their idea of what you should be. Now, we are all born into this world perfect expressions of who and what we are, and we're given this physical body to navigate the path that we need to navigate. What does that look like? Well, I think that depends on what those external influences are, how much they are molding you rather than allowing you to unfold, allowing you to develop the way that you need to develop and want to develop, that your soul knows that you need to develop in. And I think that that becomes then that nuanced conversation. Our ego is our unique expression of the oneness that exists in this world. Us becoming these homogenized creatures who comply with the systems that we are forced into is not an expression of the oneness. It is an expression of pain, comparison, darkness, shame, belittlement, guilt, fear. It's all of these things that are about control and power over, rather than self-empowerment, embodiment, love, desire, connection. We are taught to discard and ignore our true nature to fit into societal shapes that are supposed to contain us in whatever container it is that those around us think we should be in. But for me, really deeply understanding my ego and how it helps me navigate this world, how it helps keep me safe, how everything that I have been through in this world, traumatic, positive, and everything in between, has been due to my ego keeping me safe and keeping me alive. Even my unresourceful behaviors, actually, especially my unresourceful behaviors, all of them had gifts for me. Gifts that allowed me to stay safe, to be accepted by those around me, to be part of that well-oiled machine that we are told we should be a part of. It's interesting, when I was going through this and walking the beach and thinking about this necessity of us befriending our ego, I think it came in because I was listening to a podcast or a book, I can't remember which, that was talking about this idea of coming back to oneness. But coming back to oneness feels really bland. It feels colorless. Yes, we are all part of the collective conscience. Yes, we are all part of that oneness that exists. There is no separation. And yet we are created this way as a unique expression of that. I think that diversity, I think that difference, I believe that all of our ways of uniquely expressing in this world are the oneness. It's like if you just had one instrument in an orchestra, it would get pretty boring. When you have a full-blown orchestra where there are certain parts playing and certain parts are silent, where some are playing bass notes, some are playing the melodies, some are in there for harmony, some are in there to add texture or color or light and shade to the music. There might be a choir of voices that are going along with that, again, all doing different things. And yet when it is put together beautifully, it becomes this symphony that changes the way that you feel. It changes the expression that you are putting in the world. That's what I see us all as. We are all an individual expression that creates the oneness. It adds to the oneness. It's not something that takes away from the oneness. Oneness is not about all becoming the same spat out robot that does the same thing as everybody else. We are all here to bring our unique beauty into the world. We are all here to bring that unique expression. And that is what creates this idea of collective consciousness. We are not part of each other in that physical sense, but energetically we're connected. And I think seeing the world from this point of view allows you to have more compassion and empathy for yourself. It allows you to have more compassion and empathy for other people. It allows you to understand your unresourceful behaviors and where they've come from, because you understand then the conditioning that led you to those. And also then, if you're willing to dive deeper and to harmonize all of those lessons, all of those traumas, all of that conditioning, you can then start to really enhance your expression of it and how you want to bring that into the world, how you want to add to that orchestra. Do you want to make that orchestra just be full of heart and emotion and love and transport people to a completely different place out of this world? Or do you want to misfire your instrument and create raucous sounds and interruptions and try to be the only instruments that's heard? I think when we get this beautiful, healthy balance between our unique expression and our connection to everything and everyone else, that's what spirituality to me is. It is about allowing the fullness of who I am. Light and dark, color, texture, shade, all of it. It's about allowing all of that out, hopefully in a way that adds to that beautiful connection that I think is our life force. I think becoming a homogenous robot with no ego doesn't help anybody. The idea of dissolving a sense of self in this world is so much more damaging. And as I was walking, I was remembering an interview that I heard with Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he was talking about his good friend Baba Ram Dass, who I love his work. But it was interesting because when Ram Dass had his stroke, and he was in the healing process of it. Now, healing and curing are two different things. In the healing, it was the gaining acceptance of it. It wasn't about fixing it. It wasn't about becoming better from it. It was about integrating this experience into the human body. And apparently a lot of his friends said to him after his stroke, "You've become more human." And what he had realized is that he had been using his spirituality to separate himself from his body. But the idea of him having a stroke, of him desperately needing that help, that support, it allowed him to really then embody the physical vessel that he was given to navigate this world in. And I think this is a really important lesson for all of us. We all have ways of energetically leaving our body. It could be drinking, drugs, sex, shopping, any of those sorts of things that take us out from ourselves. It can be overthinking, it can be anxiety, it can be so many expressions whereby we are numbing the truth of who we are, that we are disembodied from ourselves. We are beside ourselves. We are up in our heads. We are anywhere but in our heart, in our womb space, in our feet, in this physical realm where we can feel the direction we are supposed to take. And this is where my work over the last 10 years has really brought me. It's brought me into my body. I escape so rarely now from my body. Every time I can feel myself going, I do some practices to bring myself back, because I know that this is where I play my best music. This is where I can bring my heart and soul out into the world to add to that collective conscious, to add to that beautiful spiritual healing that comes into the world. It doesn't detract from it. It doesn't make it all about me. It adds to it. It gives people choice and options. And it's like that Marianne Williamson quote of, it's the light, not the darkness, that we are often most afraid of. But that's because we've been conditioned to think that our human body is wrong. Think of almost all the religions in the world. There is something wrong with the pleasures of the flesh. There is something wrong with having desires and wants and needs. Yet why would our body have desires, wants, and needs if it wasn't innate for this human experience? It doesn't make sense. Things do not exist in nature for no reason. So we are all here in this moment, at this time, because we are supposed to be. So what instrument are we supposed to be playing? What notes are we supposed to be singing? Are we supposed to be silent for a while? Are we supposed to step out and take the lead? There will be times in our life for all of these different expressions and more. Can we own it? Can we come back to ourselves? Can we find that unique expression? Can we recognize the conditioning that we've had, the traumas that we've been through, and can we heal from those? Create those strong foundations to then build the truth of who and what we are in this world. I hope this has been some food for thought for you. Like I say, I'm just sort of riffing here, so let me know what you think. I loved that bit from Ram Dass about him becoming more human, him returning to his body and realizing that he'd been using his spirituality as a escape almost. And I know I've been guilty of this before in the past. You know, you can get on your meditation mat and feel incredible, but At times, it has been spiritually bypassing what I know that I need to deal with in this 3D world, what I know that I need to move through to get to that next level, to be able to embody that stillness and that level of consciousness into this 3D world. Something that came up at Seven Sisters, I know I was about to wrap it up, but clearly there's something else that's come through. When I was at Seven Sisters, what I was recognizing is that there were a lot of people who were going up in sessions. You know, they'd go into a meditation or a sound healing and it would take them ages to ground. And they came to see me and I was going, well, if you're not grounded, you're not bringing that beautiful divine consciousness into this reality and allowing yourself to live it. It's like if you're a battery in a TV remote and one end of you is not connected properly, that remote's kind of useless. It's all well and good to do those meditations where we're up in the clouds and we're up in those top chakras that move really fast and feel amazing because they're expansive and light and flowing. And also, if we are not firmly grounded and rooted, we cannot tether that awareness back into this world where it is needed. We need the connection to our ground, to our physical body, to be able to bring our guidance from the divine through as an expression in this world. So, can you think about connecting both ends of your battery? Connect deeply into the ground and connect to your divinity. We are 100% divine and 100% human. And I think that this acceptance allows us to be who we need to be in this world. Anyway, I'm sending you so much love. Let me know how this resonated. Remember, we are all connected to the divine. We're all messy as hell. And the more we can accept and love our divinity and our messiness, the easier our human existence becomes. Lots of love.